Hey everybody, I'm Tim. In today's video, we're going to talk about radio comms. This is something I've dealt with for a very long time. I'm going to take you through the most common radios that we use out here in the National Forest when we're out either hiking, backpacking, or overlanding. These are what you're going to want to use. And I'm going to go through each one of them, tell you the pros and cons of them, and kind of a new thing that we started using within the last year that has worked out really well, and we're very happy with it and satisfied with the results, so let's get started. So I've been dependent on radios my whole entire life. I've always been in public service. I've been using radios since I was 16 when I first joined the search and rescue team and the fire department. So radios have always been something we relied on for communication, and really being off-grid or overlanding, it's still the same principles as it was in public safety. What you got to look out for is your antenna. You're going to get the most range out of the tallest antenna you have, and it depends on in your vehicles where you mount that antenna on how good your range are and how effective it is. And if you notice on these two radios that are GMRS radios, one has a very short antenna and one has a longer antenna, and there's advantages and disadvantages to each one of those. With this longer, skinnier antenna, we're able to get out a lot further range. It just has better penetration, especially with the hills and everything. And then when you're looking at a short, stubby antenna like this, it has advantages too. If you're not very far away from the person, you're talking close. Like for this radio here is one that I commonly use anytime I'm spotting someone. And the advantage with this is it has a speaker mic on it, which you can get these for any of these radios. They normally have a plug that looks about like this, and they just plug into the side of these radios. And what's nice about this, so the advantage of that is being able to clip this on your belt down here, and then you can clip this on a shirt, however you want to do it. But you're able to talk here, but you're also able to hear your speaker here too. So you're able to hear what they're saying from up here instead of down here on your belt where it might be difficult to hear somebody. Now, an old trick that we used to use before we had the speaker mics is we used to cup our hands like this whenever someone would talk, and the volume would actually follow along with the cup of our hands, and we could hear it better. So that's a good option if it's on your belt and you can't hear what someone's saying. Just take your hands, cup it, you can hear a little bit better. But what's a better choice is having it up here in your working area to where you can be hands-free. Maybe you're helping guide someone when you're trying to winch, but you can also just simply talk to them right here too while you're giving them a hand signal, which is very handy, keeping your hands free, which we do a lot better as humans with hands-free, a lot less falls and stuff like that because we have both hands. You may be holding a flashlight. There's a lot of advantages to being hands-free. But with the shorter antenna, you're not as worried about things because you're very close by that person you're talking to when you're spotting. So having that distance isn't a big deal. So when GMRS started to be a real thing, these were really handy. And these are actually family radio system, FRS radios. And these are by Midland. And I've had these for over 10 years. They've hung out with me for a long time. I originally bought them because whenever people first started going into the GMRS radios, I didn't really know a lot about it. I liked it because it was on a 400 megahertz, which I knew from my law enforcement days, that signal carried a lot better than the VHF radio. So I was excited about that. But I bought these because it was kind of like a novelty at that time. Most people were still on CB radios then, and these were kind of a new thing. So I bought these 10 years ago. The batteries held up, and what I like about them, if you can find them like this, and this is what's called a gang charger, where it will charge up 2 radios at one time, these are really handy. And I still keep them in my truck today because a lot of times I'll hand these to a friend now whenever we're out. And these Midland radios have done a really good job, and I'm really happy with that brand, just over the way they've lasted all these years, and even their batteries, which are really unusual. But these will last a whole day when you're out four-wheeling, just depending on how much you're using them and how much you're talking. Because of course, when you're actually transmitting, it uses a lot more power than when you're receiving. And what we used to use are these CB radios. But you can already hear they're very chatty, and with this being a low band radio, so this is picking up all kinds of stuff, and that's what these CB radios used to do. And primarily they had 2 channels. They had a number 9 channel, which was the emergency channel. Then it had the 19, which most people ran that on the highway, which you'd hear truckers talking on and stuff like that. But it had 40 other channels that you could go to and talk on. So these were handy back in their day. They're also power hogs. I know this unit runs on 9 AAA batteries, so it uses a lot of juice that way. But what I don't like about them, again, there's a lot of interference from other channels. A lot of people just get on these things and chatter. I'll go over to another channel. And it don't really matter what channel you're on. Most of these radios are pretty active on all the frequencies these days, and people get on them. But there's still a lot of folks that use the CB radios, and I keep one in my truck. I don't keep the batteries in there because I found out if you do leave the batteries in these will run down, so I won't do that. But I keep it in my truck because I still run across folks that still use the CB, so it's nice having the handheld. I don't have it mounted like I did back in the day, but having a handheld has its advantages. And the neat thing about that is you can plug this into a cigarette lighter, and they also have it to where you can detach the antenna and plug in a magnetic mount that you can stick on top of your vehicle and have the range with one of these without having to actually hardwire it in your vehicle. And those kits run under $100, so they're very affordable. And I like having options, so no matter who I'm out here with, I'm able to talk to them. So I like that. So I still carry one with me today. And today's option's really neat. It has a lot of advantages and some disadvantages too. Now these radios here are the ones by Rapid Radios, and there's several companies out here making them. These I bought myself, and I bought them for my company. I have a security company that transports prisoners that go across the whole United States, so it's very important for us to have a communications wherever we go. But with a regular radio system, that would be near to impossible to be able to set up a system like that. So we use the Rapid Radios at this point. And what's neat about these is you can have talk groups in them. So you can have a talk group with your family, you can have another talk group with your friends, and whoever's in that talk group is the only ones that are invited. So if you were to buy one of these and you want to be on your buddy's frequency, you would have to get his permission, and then the Rapid Radio people would have to program it so you could talk to him, or you could go to another channel and talk to your friends and family on that. But these run off cell phone towers, which poses a problem for us because you have to have a cell phone signal. Now these radios say you can talk anywhere, which necessarily isn't true. They do have dual SIM cards in there where you can have several networks. So you may have Verizon, which out here is the very worst network. We can't even talk on our phones out of Verizon, but we have a really good AT&T signal, so we can talk on it. So at that point, this radio would be drawn in on the AT&T signal, and we'd be able to talk just fine, even though Verizon has zero signal out here. So that's a huge advantage for us. And the other neat thing about this particular radio, it also runs on Wi-Fi. So I can hook this up to my Starlink satellite on my Jeep. So using Starlink, I can talk anywhere I have a satellite signal, which is pretty much everywhere, unless I'm under a whole bunch of trees. So that's given me an advantage now to where if I don't have either cellular network that I could actually talk on the radio on, I can still get up on the satellite. I can still make that call on the radio from my satellite using the Wi-Fi option. So with this radio having both the cellular and the Wi-Fi, it reaches out really good. I have heard rumors also that some of these radios can also use cellular signal as well as a GMRS radio, which would be a really neat combination, but that would only really work if you're close to somebody enough to where that signal would talk. And typically that would be anywhere within a mile to maybe 20 miles if you're in the right spot to be able to talk across. But with the cellular option, again, you can be anywhere that you have a cell phone signal and the other person has a cell phone signal, and you can talk just fine. So we're finding ourselves using these radios even more than GMRS. So with these GMRS radios, the biggest thing is you have to have a license for them, but that's not really that big a deal. You don't have to take a test to have your license. It's very simple, very easy to acquire. You just go over to the FCC website and you fill out the form and you send it off. They approve it, but there is a fee for it. It is $35 and it lasts for 10 years. So once you pay the $35 fee, you'll have the license for 10 years, which is really handy with that. So I like that part about it. But the neater thing about your license, having it, it doesn't just apply to you, it applies to everyone in your household and your family. So everyone in your house is covered by that. And what that looks like, it just comes back as a piece of paper. And for $35, this license is good for 10 years. But the neat thing about it is, it's going to tell you the dates. It's going to give you a call sign, which on my GMRS radio inside my car, I actually made a tag with my call sign on it. So if anyone ever wanted to know it, it's right here. I can tell them. It gives my file number. So if anyone was to ever ask you about your license, you will be able to present that. So wherever my radios are, I keep a copy of it. So I have one at home. I have one in my vehicle. I don't really take it out with me when I'm backpacking, but I do have my call sign on the radio so they could always look it up. Do I think is the FCC going to come out of the trees and try to corner me and ask me for my license? Probably not, but I do like to be law-abiding. I am an ex-law enforcement officer. I like to stay within the rules. So it's good having that license so you're able to do that. And for $35 for 10 years, that's a bargain. Now, the other neat thing about the GMRS radios is you're able to get on repeaters with them. And what is a repeater? A repeater is whenever you're able to key up, reach a tower that's higher than you are, and it sends that signal out there and it amplifies it. It also amplifies other people that are talking too. So if you have a chance to be on a repeater, that's really the way to go. And one of these days, I'm going to get my hands on a repeater and I'm going to show you guys how that works. I do have a trailer, my Overland trailer, that has a base station on it. And I'd like to convert that someday to a repeater system. So whenever people are out, it's going to be able to amplify their signal when they're further away, with that antenna being higher up in the air. Now let's talk about these radios. So with these radios, they're programmable, and like this one's programmable through the side here. So all I have to do is take this cable here and attach it to the side of here, and I can go into a program mode using a software called Chirp. Now with this Chirp software, I'll be able to download everything that's inside this radio and modify anything that I do. Now to do that, it's good to have a reference sheet. Now this is for the GMRS radio frequencies, and this tells me every single channel that I can transmit on and receive on. It tells me how many watts that I'm allowed to use on that channel and exactly how much power to use on that. So this is information that you need. If you're dealing with a repeater tower, a lot of times they have what's called a tone. Now a tone is where we can both be on the same frequency at the same time, but you can't hear me if you have a privacy tone on, but I can hear you. I won't be able to talk to you on my radio because of your privacy tone, so unless I knew what that tone was, I could hear you, but you can't hear me if I'm trying to talk to you on the same channel. A lot of these repeaters have the privacy tones on them. Now, if you hear someone talking on their radio, on their repeater, you don't want to just hop on it. Repeaters are restricted to the people that own them, and they can pick and choose who's allowed to be on the repeater. And if they ask you to get off their repeater, you better get on it. But more importantly, you should ask for permission before you get on their repeater and talk to anyone on it. So with this software here, you're able to go into your radios and put those privacy tones in those very easily so you can access that, or you can have a frequency on the GMRS where you guys can have just your own tone set up to where you can talk back and forth. But the problem is you won't be able to hear anyone else. So if another buddy showed up that didn't have their tone programmed in there, they wouldn't be able to talk to you. So with me, I have a dedicated laptop that I only use for programming radios. I use this for the scanners, and I also use it for the radios themselves. And it's handy for me because I can pack this up very small, and I can put this inside my vehicle. So let's talk about another device. This is made by Tide Radio, and this is a Bluetooth device that you're able to plug in the side of the radio and turn it on. And this puts it into the programming mode. Now all you have to do is go to Tide Radio's app, and with this Tide Radio you can be able to program this by using Bluetooth on your cell phone to any of the radios that accept that. And it's a very handy device, so you can do this in the field without having to actually bring your laptop with you, because on your phone you'll be able to change tones and everything else that we can do on our laptop just in a more simple, compact way. So I'm out inside my car. I have my Midland radio. This is the 50 watt. I'm very happy with this. This has had very good reception, and it's done a really good job. You can see I have my speakers here behind my headrest, and then down below here in my seat delete, I actually have the radio mounted under here which just has a cord that goes all the way up to the dash. It also has a additional powerful USB-C plug here where I can also charge something up if I want to. And there is one other option to that, and that's amateur radio. They call them ham operators. And I know a lot of them. I'm friends with a lot of people in the amateur world, but it's kind of a hobby. A lot of people talk on them, and you can literally talk around the world on one of these if you know what you're doing. And there's a lot of people listening, and they can come to your aid. So if you take the time, you study it, you get with a local ham operator group, and they teach you how to use these radios, how to pass the required tests to be able to get your amateur license, I would highly recommend you do so, because there's a lot of advantage of that. And I know there's a lot of people and a lot of rumors out there on the street that says if you get an emergency situation, you can just jump on a ham radio and talk to anyone. And that's true, but that's also very limited to a true emergency situation, a life and death, a life-threatening type of situation that would be allowed. Any radio communications is allowed under those circumstances, but you got to be very, very cautious with that. You got to also know what you're doing, and it's not something I would do, go buy a radio, program it up, and plan to do that. I would do a lot more research, talk to some people in your area that are licensed in amateur radio, and get some more thoughts and opinions, and you may just go ahead and go for that license on that and use it all the time. I know some Jeepers and Overlanders that do use that frequency, and they talk back and forth on multiple channels, but I'm not one of those people. But just do your research and you'll be fine. So let's talk about antennas. One of the very best antennas that I found is this one made by Midland. This thing has incredible range, and everyone that I know that runs one of these are very happy with it. I actually went with this antenna here, which also has really great range. It's more of that overland Australian looking antenna, and I love it. I love the look of it, and the performance out of it has been really good. I like the big spring on the bottom, and this thing gets out, and I haven't had any problems with it. And the furthest we've been able to talk to a buddy was 25 miles. That's how far we tested it, and that's back in the hills and everything, so it was doing exceptionally well. But I do know that these antennas do just as well. One of the antennas that I might shy away from would be more the ghost antennas. I know a lot of you guys like them because they're low profile, and they just look good on vehicles too. They don't really stick up a lot. But if you're trying to get that long range out of them, I would recommend this antenna or this antenna would be my two go-tos personally. But that's just personally my recommendation. You may have a whole nother thought on it, but that's what I do. And back in the old days in the CBs, they had the Channel 9. And our sheriff's department had a big base station with a huge antenna on it, and it'd listen to the whole county, and people would get on Channel 9 if they got lost out in the woods or if they're broken down somewhere, and our dispatcher could talk back and forth to them and dispatch our cars there. And we also ran Channel 9 in our sheriff's cars. I always had my Channel 9 turned on, and there's several times I've had people reach out. They were stranded or they were lost and needed directions. And one lady was having a baby one time, and she was screaming on Channel 9. So that was really a cool channel to have back in those days. But with GMRS, so far, nobody's taken the initiative to designate a channel like that. And GMRS is a lot different than the CBs, but I wish somebody would, and maybe get to where there was more of a national channel that people would look out for each other on. But at this point, there's nothing like that. So GMRS still has a lot of growth, a lot of room to grow, and I think it will with time. It's so popular now. I've seen it grow over the last 10 years. You can't hardly find a Jeeper that doesn't have one now, which is a plus, but there's still some guys back there that refuse to crawl away from the old CB radio, and they're still using those. That's why I keep that extra unit with me in case I link up with those guys. But I think eventually everyone will be over on the GMRS radio just because it's such a great option. And those other radios I told you about are really neat too. But with the cell phone and the way they have to program a talk group, if you didn't do a lot of pre-planning and had all that scheduled out ahead of time, it's not something you can all just meet up with and do on the fly. You're going to have to get a hold of that carrier. They're going to have to go in and set everybody up. So that's a thing for the future, and that may grow as well. But for right now, my recommendation, if you're shopping for a radio, I'd do the GMRS. I think it's going to go a long ways, and we'll see how the future holds for us with that. So right now, I'm sticking with the GMRS radios. I think they got some room to grow. I think they will. If you got any value out of this content, please like and subscribe. It really helps my channel out, and I hope to see you in the next video.